and how are you? This is Tina Ballet. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking, and sharing. Yay! You like my video? This is our channel. Give yourselves a hand clap. So we made it to 500. Woo! Which entitles us to a community wall where I have posted some things for you. Hi, how are you? Updates abound. Hey, welcome, Almond Brown. Let's see. Title says Yarn Buddy. Do you crochet or knit or any yarn craft? I found an excellent yarn app for yarn crafts. I was listening to a fellow crocheter share her yarn project ideas and so forth, and she shared what she uses and how she uses it. And I went and looked at it, got it, sat on it for a while, and now it's like, yay! It's like my buddy. I started using it like October 4th, no, October 11th. And she said she just uses it to count like rows or stitches. It has, you can add projects on there, future projects, finished projects, in process projects. You can add your yarn stash on there. So October 11th, I added my current yarn project, which is a Doctor Who scarf. Hold on, let me make sure my mic on. Okay. um. So yeah, I added that, and I didn't have the ball band for that, and I really wanted to check the scanner. It has a scanner. You can scan your yarn bands. So like, I don't know, yesterday or either today, I was able to try the scanner, and I scanned like one, two, three, four, maybe. Yeah, about four yarn bands, and it put the information in automatically. It put the what you do is you scan the barcode, and it put the care instructions in, everything that was on the bar band uh, was able to go in. Just stop by to say, alrighty then, fantastic. Thank you so much. Toodaloo. So this app is called Yarn Buddy, and when you scan it and the yarn is in the database, it automatically fills in the blanks, what needles and crochet hooks and care and colors, and then you can put how much you have of the yarn, skeins, ounces, and grams. There were some yarn bands that weren't in the database. You can add those manually. I haven't added those manually yet. I've only added one manually because I was trying to see which ones I could add with the scanner because I thought the scanner was so cool. Like, yes. And so, yeah, I wanted to see how much I could scan. So, did that. The ones that I couldn't scan, I haven't put in manually because that's a whole nother thing, right? Like, that's a whole nother thing. So I just added my second project in, and I added that to the community wall, and that's the kaleidoscope throw. And what you can do with this is you can add pictures, you can add patterns. So that's what I did. Also, the yarn. Also, what's cool about this is you can add your storage location. That is so cool to like put in the app where these yarns are located. Also, you can add store locations. You can add price if you like, and photos. So I added the photos. Um, the photos. I'm thinking about adding storage location, which would be like top left cubby right now. It would be like top left cubby. It would be bottom right cubby. So those are the locations for now for the yarns. I haven't added that yet though, but I saw that that was a feature to behold. So that's the yarn buddy. I don't think anyone else has told me about yarn buddy. Like what? Um, so I'm glad I listened to her. I was, my ear was to the ground. I was listening, and I listened to her because she made her own. She crocheted her own wedding dress. So yeah, I was like, "Well, what you use? Say what now?" And listen to it a few times. I'm like, "What she say?" Okay. I listened to that video quite a few times to get the information she was sharing about the buddy. So that's that. Books. Okay, books. Since I've last updated, I have finished some books and I've started some books and I finished some books too. Like, what? I started a book and finished a book before I came back to you guys. Um, so some books I finished was one was The Prince. Um, Prince about Prince Machiavelli, his writings. I finished that book. I finished. That was a book that was in progress that I was telling you guys that I was reading. I finished that one. I'm trying to think if it was another one that was in progress that I finished reading. No, I don't. Maybe it's not coming to me at the moment. Another book that I read like in one day was 1984. I read that in one day. Um, so yeah, that wasn't in progress when I was talking to you guys. That was on my bookshelf. It is no longer on my bookshelf. I read it. in one day, one sitting. So another book I read like that was it starts with us. I read that, and now I finished that. Started that before I came to you guys. Finished it before I came to you guys. That might have taken me 2 days to read, maybe. Um, yeah. So I could talk about that book. So what's in progress? Eat for your blood type. That's still in progress. I'm gonna go ahead and finish reading it in its entirety, and then I'll just refer back to it. So what I started doing, I had stopped reading it because I was reading it as like using it as a reference. But yeah, I've started back reading it in its entirety. Uh, yeah. Um, Home based business. That's a book in progress. I've been reading. Also, I've begun Tales of Lovecraft. Um, and that's in progress now. Also, Black Cake, I've started reading. That's in progress now. Um, Black Cake, Black Cake feels like I've read this book before. I'm gonna go ahead and continue reading it, but it feels like I've read it before. Like it's been years though, but it feels like I've read it. I'm like, I think I read this book already, but that's okay. That's okay. Like I don't remember it, but as I'm reading it, I remember it. So I'm like, huh. So yeah, Black Cake and oh, now what kind of was stalling me from getting my reading on and popping, which it really doesn't seem like it to you guys because I've read books, books in progress, and things like that. But prior to that, I took a few days and I was waiting on Sister Soldier's new book that came out on the 8th of October. And it's Love After Midnight. Um, and So it's available now. It was released October 8th. So I was looking for that, looking forward to reading that. I haven't read it yet. I don't have it yet. I'm still waiting. So yeah, I waited till the 8th to start reading, and then after the 8th, and I couldn't. I'm waiting on the book. I'm waiting on the book. So I just started reading the books that I already have. And yeah, so yeah, we're here with the books I already have. The next book I'll probably read is it. I don't know what comes next. I think okay, so it ends. I mean, it begins with us. I guess it's the first book. I don't know if the second book is it ends with us. I'll have to see. And I'll read the next book. If they're like, I don't know. I thought those books were related. But yeah, I'll probably read It Ends With Us. Um I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it's the same couple or not. Um, yeah. So it begins with us. Began with um, let's see. I thought one character was getting like a lot of power. Like you guys are giving this character like too much credit, too much power. Like how you how are you not with this character and for a good reason, but then you give him domain over said situations? Like, look, girl, like no, he don't need to. So yeah, she that got that I was I guess that that's part of the book and the characters development. um Atlas in the book, um the mother was mothering. There's a mother in the book. The mother was mothering. Lord have mercy. Like, oh, please, somebody. And Atlas was what? The mother was named Lily. Atlas, I'm like, Atlas, you. I was like, you really don't have time for this. But he made her a priority, and I was like, okay, Atlas, put her in the priority section, okay. So I was really happy to see him do that. However, I'm like, Atlas didn't do enough. Like, the mother was mothering. Like, Atlas didn't do enough for me. Like, uh, uh, he just and then he allowed her, or she took the bait to mother some more. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like this woman needs somebody to pour into her, and she just like everywhere for everybody. So I was just like, oh, she really need to rest, and he see that she need to rest. So he allowed her to go to sleep and sleep, but that was it. Ugh, I'm just like, eh, Atlas didn't do it for me. I was like, okay, so this book, so what is this book? Because I mean, does does having a bit of nudity in it make it spicy? Like, is that why we calling this spicy? Like, I'm just like, what's the hype? What's the hype with this book? Is the hype because they were, or yeah, they were nude? Like, is that what the hype is? I'm like, I'm like not impressed. I'm like, yeah, like, like, eh. So yeah, that was that's a brief, my brief summary of my review of, or my thoughts. Those are my thoughts about um uh that book. Um, it starts with this. um, so with my Doctor Who scarf that I'm creating, I thought I needed to frog it. because when I looked at the pattern called for like a lesser number than what I um, cast on. And I'm at the 16th row. Thanks to my yarn buddy, I know what your row I'm on. I'm on the 16th row. I think it's an estimate, guesstimate, because I had started this before I had the yarn buddy, and I think I'm counting the rows correctly. Um, and the person that I saw her video, she casted on like a larger number than what I casted on. So I'm like, okay, so what I did was create a number in between those two items and cast it on my own number of stitches. So I'm not going with anybody. Like, I'm not following the pattern. I'm not following her video. Like, I'm doing my own thing. Like, what? I'm and then so when I saw the pattern and the pattern calls for lesser number, I like, I mean, I don't mind that. Like, it's great for beginners. It's a great stitch starter for beginners. Um, Everything's flowing though, so I'm thinking like if I was to frog it to follow the pattern exactly, I probably still wouldn't follow the pattern exactly because I'm not even what is called slipping the last stitch. I'm not slipping the last stitch. I'm knitting all the way across, even the last stitch. Um, because my yarn is flowing. Like my yarn is continuous. Um, I don't have to change colors at this moment. Um, let's see what else. Um, and the yarn, the colorway is perfect. Like right now, like the colorway is working out perfectly. So if I was to change the stitches, perhaps it would be off. Perhaps it would be off that amount of stitches. So the yarn would come in a bit, like the color change would come in a bit, like um like uh like a heartbeat. Like it wouldn't be straight across. It would peak. It would peak inward and would turn it into a different look. It would turn it into a different look if I was to change the stitches. So right now, all the colors are going straight across. Um, and perhaps I tried it, and then I also considered that, and thus concluded to this number of stitches that I have. I did start this project like last year. So yeah, like it's all coming back to me now. Like started, working on a project like over a year ago, it's like, okay, and go. Now I got to figure out, okay, what was the rhyme and reason? Because with this entering the information into my yarn buddy, I'm seeing the pattern. Before I wasn't looking at the pattern because I thought I had it all fixed out, which I do. I just was putting everything all together, and then I saw that the cast on stitches were different, so I just did a little research to see why my cast on was different, and then I thought I needed to frog it. So I'm just coming to a clarification that it's all good and I can continue my work in progress. There's no need for frogging. No need. Because I already worked all of that out like a year ago, starting the project. So, yeah. Just pick it up and go. And I actually thought I missed a stitch, which I didn't. I don't know what happened to where I didn't count the first stitch or the last stitch. I did my best to count all the stitches. So what I'll do, and see, because I thought I was off, I was going to use that excuse to rip it all out and start over again. Um, but when I went to look at the video, I saw a tip where I could use stitch markers every 10 stitches to have that as a placeholder to see how many stitches I have and if I've lost a stitch or not. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I had been not using stitch markers, trying to knit without using the stitch markers, but it looks like it's gonna be better for me to utilize the stitch markers to keep count, to keep row, to keep clarity, to keep clarity of my stitches, because I would love to keep my stitches. And right, so I've already made a mistake, and that is kind of like a purposeful thing with the pattern, um, with the Doctor Who scarf. The the um, the scarf was flipped around at some point, and so I got that going for me. I did that, check. And so yeah, I like the fact that I did that, because I picked up I'm using circular needles, which I don't know. I have to look. I don't think I have that noted that I'm using circular needles. Um, but yeah, I'm using circular needles. It doesn't call for circular needles. You can use straight needles. Okay, so with the circular needles, when I picked it up to, okay, so, okay, so I'm in the middle of a row, but not quite the middle, but kind of sort of the middle. Headed toward the middle of the row. Like I'm work in progress. I'm knitting. I'm knitting and knitting. And then I get to about the middle of the row. Not quite the middle, but the middle. Okay. So now I gotta put down my project and do something. So I scoop my knitting work down towards the cable and I set it down. Okay, so it's away from the ends, the edges, the ends of the tips of the needles. It's away from that, so that all the stitches can stay on. So I sit it down. I go and do what I need to do, whatever, then I come back. And when I come back, I pick up my work and I forgot what side my what hand my working yarn was supposed to be in. What side my working yarn was supposed to be on, because when I start, I like to, finish a row before I put my work down. But it doesn't work like that sometimes. So, like, if it was at the beginning of the row, the working yarn would have been on my right hand side. And so when I picked my row up, the yarn was like, I was like, where does this yarn go? Like, I was like, should I look it up? I don't think I looked it up, or maybe I did. I don't know. But I thought I knew it was, and it's been a while since I knitted it. I don't know. It's been a while since I knitted on circular needles. So I'm like, okay, circular needles, like, which way does it go? Which way does it go? So I'm up here flipping it upside down, flipping it round, putting the needles in this hand, that hand, flipping it over, making sure everything is straight, because with circular needles it can get twisted. So I made a decision, and like, I think I think I think I took the needle to the working yarn to the right when it was supposed to be to the left. So I think, like, okay, so when I did that, it didn't go to the end of the row that I was working on. It went back up. So I was like, oops. I was like, oh, well, there's my mistake for the for the for the for the scarf. There it is. Ooh, there it is. I was like, okay, so this time I know, because I made that mistake, I know which way the yarn goes. And I think I know. I think I know which way the yarn goes. So that was cool. And as I was beginning to work on this yarn, the scarf, what I did was I turned on the series of the theme of the scarf and watched a few episodes. I think that's what I did when I started, when I began the scarf a year ago. And so that's what I did when I worked on it for the first time since starting the scarf. Now, I have worked on it without the show and things like that. Also, pushing these needles with my fingertips, I'm like, where are my finger guards? Like, I do have some finger guards somewhere. Like, I need finger guards pushing these acrylic needles through the stitches. So yeah, that kind of deters me. I work on it for as long as I can, and then I'm like, I gotta set it down. So I know I have some finger guards somewhere. Somewhere is a pack of finger guards. Unless I think I have opened them. Yeah, I have opened them. And so I'm not sure where they are now. Like maybe they're in like another project. So it's almost like you need to get, if you're going to keep them in a project, keep them with a project, it's like you need more for other knitting needle projects. That's what it's looking like for me. So yeah, I need some knitting, some finger guards for this project, so that I can keep a pair of finger guards with this project. Oh, also, I have some more news. Like, I wanted to share. Share, share, share. Oh, wow. It's only been 30 some minutes. Okay. I can share this. I can share this before we go. I can share this before we go. Oh, hold on. Like, ow. Let me share this before we go. Let me get into the chat. And then I'll share this before we go. Can you guess what it is? Can you? Can you? Huh? 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 Can you guess what it is? All right. So what it is, I solved a Rubik's Cube. I solved a Rubik's Cube like over 4 times now. Like, like what? Like, yeah, I did that. Like, I solved the Rubik's Cube at least 5 times. Like, and I did a pattern. So after solving it about four times or so, then I saw that patterns can be done on the with the Rubik's Cube, and so I began creating patterns, and I'm trying to think. I think I made 2 patterns so far. It's a bunch, like a bunch of patterns that can be made um, with the Rubik's Cube, and I did two patterns, I think. Um, so yeah. That's my new thing now. Making patterns with the Rubik's Cube. If you've ever had a Rubik's Cube, have you solved it? Um, I've looked it up on YouTube how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and that really didn't work for me. Um, it wasn't till someone showed how to um, um, like like show instructions that I got it. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm hearing what you can. I'm hearing what you got. I hear it. I'm listening. You know, you say to take the white squares and create a daisy, and so yeah, I did that. And then okay, so somebody else says take the white squares and make a cross, and then add the white corners. Okay, I did that. And then they're like, okay, now do this, do this, do this. And I'm like, okay, I did that, did that, did that. But it was like going back to the beginning. So I did see someone that could solve the Rubik's Cube in like 4 moves. And I did try that. And that led me to something else where they were showing how to solve the Rubik's cubes via visual. So that's when I was able to solve the Rubik's cube, and I screamed to the high heavens when I the first time I solved the Rubik's cube, and actually not as high as the high heavens, but um my ceiling. I screamed to the top of my ceiling. Okay, so yeah, that was fun. And then the second time was fun. Third time, fourth time, fifth time, it's like, okay, now I got this. Like, you want your Rubik's cube solved? Yeah, I can do that. Like, you can do it too. You can do it too. Like, yeah. So that's been so fun solving the Rubik's cube. Before I got help with it, I thought I was gonna have to take a marker and mark some of the colors. I heard somebody did that they took a marker, like they had like a couple that were out of place. I was like, oh, now this is after I've learned how to solve the this is after I've solved the Rubik's cubes. I'm like, oh, all they had to do was do, and they would have solved the cube. So yeah, I've had my moments where stickers, like if you get those ones that are like off brand, you can try and move the stickers around, which don't help. Like you wind up messing up the stickers. But yeah, I've solved it a few times. I like it. I have the one without the stickers. It's the actual one now. Well, I get to play with it. It's like it's mine. Like, and solve it. So I'm enjoying that along with my yarn buddy, uh, and and being able to uh, create my yarn stash on my Yarn Buddy and my projects, which I do have the kaleidoscope throw on there. And I'm thinking about adding some other patterns on there, like the what's her name, the Nightmare Before Christmas lady, Sally. I'm thinking of adding her pattern on there just because it is something on my list. And I do like my Yarn Buddy, and I like how it puts the projects all together there. Like right now, I have the pattern in a folder somewhere, and I have the pattern in my iBooks. With my Yarn Buddy, I can put it like right there, like right with my Doctor Who project and my kaleidoscope, because I can set it to future and I can use the count, so it'll be in my face. I get to see the pretty colors, the different colors of the yarns, the pictures, because I did kind of forget about it, because it's in a folder on a shelf. So yeah, I'm thinking about adding them to my Yarn Buddy, because my Yarn Buddy is so fun, and it's like revitalizing the creative like essence within me, so yeah, that's what's going on. Having fun with my Yarn Buddy, like squeal, like Yarn Buddy is like so fun. So that's what's going on now. Also looking at my yarn and seeing what yarns I do have to create the Sally scarf. Because that has been on my mind, and then with the Yarn Buddy, I can put it all in there and see what I have, and I can add it from stash, or I can add it, add a new yarn, because that's what I had to do with the kaleidoscope throw. I only have one color of the kaleidoscope throw. It calls for two colors, and I didn't have it, but I was able to add a new yarn. So yeah, my Yarn Buddy is so fun. So that's what's going on with my Yarn Buddy. And October so far, I've been knitting on the Doctor Who scarf and enjoying books. And that's oh, and solving Rubik's cubes. All right, let me see. I think I added something. No, I set something down somewhere. Where did I sit it? Right here.